What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Garcia. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. I'm just kidding. I'm McKenna, and I'm the video production manager here at Loud Rumor, and I am not Mike Garcia, but I am going to show you how to make an audio podcast in under 15 minutes. So the first step, what you want to do is pick your theme. So it's important not to be super broad with what you're going to talk about on your audio podcast, but not super niche where it's like only one thing. So for example, we have the GSD Show. If you haven't checked it out, go do that. But we're not just a business podcast. We are a fitness business podcast that helps fitness studio owners with things like sales, retention, marketing, etc. Yeah, again, we're not too broad where it's just a business podcast, but it's not too narrow where we're only fitness business owners talking about sales and that's it, nothing else. If you become too niche, you're going to run out of things to talk about. If you're too broad, you're not going to find the right listeners. So find the little sweet spot. An example that would be for you guys is say your ideal members are, moms on the go, busy moms on the go. Well, a podcast theme for you is, quick episodes talking about things like, the quick tips for breakfast ideas or workouts to do with your kids. Maybe it's like your favorite hormonal supplements, and you're tailoring it around that busy mom on the go. And maybe they're like 10 to 15 minute long episodes that is specific to your listener. It's important to keep them in mind when you create these episodes, so don't just throw some random things out there that they may not want to learn about. Stick to your theme, and that'll help you be really successful when you start your podcast. Next, you're gonna wanna choose your name. So, start getting ideas, and you can tailor it around certain things like what your theme is around, like the Mom on the Go podcast or things like that. Or, you can find it, maybe it's like for example, the GSD Show. Our whole mindset here at Loud Rumor is get stuff done, depending on who you are. But that is tailored around our mindset here. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with fitness business, but it ties back into the whole Loud Rumor theme. So what I recommend for you guys is, one, if you think of a name, Google it, make sure nobody else has that name first as a podcast, but also make sure that no other business has that name too, because when you want people to search for your podcast, you want to make sure that you come up as the first topic. You don't want to have to compete with another business who may already have an established name. And make sure you share a couple of your naming options with friends, family, your members who could be potential listeners, and they'll give you some feedback on helping you decide which name to go with. Next, you're going to want to pick your platform. Now, there's a plethora of platforms that you could go with. The one I'm going to show you today is free, and it's super easy to get started with, which is why I'm going to share it with you. So that platform is Anchor. So as you can see on my screen, I am now logged into Anchor. So go ahead and create an Anchor account. And you're going to want to have the name of your podcast as well as a description of what it's going to talk about. So going back to the busy mom, say this podcast is for busy moms on the go, and it gives you quick tips that are easily digestible or something along those lines. You're going to know your client best, and you're going to know your podcast best. So make sure you come up with that description ahead of time. You're also going to want to create some cover art for your podcast, which is what you guys see on my screen here. I'm just, for example, doing the GSD Show, but you're going to want to create that cover art for your podcast. And if you have no design skills, you can use Fiverr, Fiverr.com, or Upwork, where you can have someone create it for you, or you can use tools like Canva to create it yourself. So you're going to want to make sure that is uploaded there. So if you're not quite ready to create your first episode, like you're like, I don't have any ideas of like what to talk about, you can make a trailer for your video, and so that would just essentially be the description, and you can just talk a little bit about what people can expect from your podcast. So I'm going to show you how to create that. And Anchor is really cool because you're able to add music and sound effects and just record straight from your computer. And we've linked in the description below some audio devices that you can plug right into your computer so that you can have the best audio possible. So go ahead and click that link in the description below. But as you can see on my screen, how you would create a new episode, you just hit new episode, and then we'll hit record. Let's do a little testing out here. Let's start recording. Hello, I am creating an episode of a new podcast. Woohoo! This is testing. and we'll stop the recording. So as you can see here, you can do music. Anchor's pretty cool because you can connect to your Spotify account and you can choose any Spotify song to use. However, if you do that, just know your podcast can only be on the Spotify. That specific episode can only be on Spotify. But if you just want to do the free, I'm going over to now this library tab, and that is where that recent clip I just recorded. To add music, what you can do is hit this little add background music button, and then you have a bunch of songs to choose from. Let's choose folksy. Betty Dear, let's hear that. Hello and welcome to, or you can do dramatic. Maybe this is, I'm gonna tell you about all of it is things. Get creative. There's obviously a plethora of different music to choose from, but just have it match the theme of your podcast. So if you're gonna be like super high intensity, maybe do the more electronic music. If it's more calm yoga, I'm gonna tell you about all the calming things of the world, then I would obviously suggest going with the calmer music. So basically, yeah, you would hit that. I'm just gonna choose that one and hit apply, and then it'll show you how it'll automatically add. You can be like a video editor or audio editor within Anchor. Okay, so now you can hit play. Start recording. Hello. I am creating an episode of a new podcast. So yeah, as you can see, that probably was not the correct music to choose, but that was just an example. But there you go. That's how you quickly add a music, and just automatically uploads to your podcast. So if you put this click this plus button, it'll add to your episode, and then you can save your episode. And then you're going to want to title it. So I'm just putting testing. And then you would hit publish now. So once you've created that first podcast, Anchor can actually automatically upload it to all of the softwares that people listen to. So Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, etc. There's an option for them to do it automatically, and this is what it will actually look like. Or if you want to do it manually, however, I wouldn't suggest doing it manually because you have to go in, create a new Apple Podcast, Apple ID, get the RSS code. If you want to know how to do that, that'll be in a later course. But for this basic ease, just go ahead and have Anchor do it yourself. If you're on your dashboard too, so you created that episode, and you scroll down a little bit, this is where you can distribute everywhere. So just click that button and follow the instructions once your podcast is ready. So the last step I want to leave you with is consistency. It's really important to make sure you're consistent with your release schedule of the podcast. Whether that be once a week, which is pretty standard, or maybe you're only at once a month. That's like what you can do right now. Maybe you're already ahead of the game and you're going to do 2 or 3 times a week. But find that consistency, whatever you choose to do, and be consistent with it. So if it's one time a week, get with your team, get with someone and say, okay, what day of the week is this going to be? 1, and then 2, making sure that you have a buffer of episodes that you're going to talk about. So come up with like 10 episodes before you're ready to launch, that okay, I can cover these 10, and then as you go, you can keep creating more. Obviously, as time goes on, you're going to have more episode ideas, but just creating those 10 first, it's going to really help you to not be stuck. We're like, oh my gosh, this week I have nothing. It'll make sure you're always prepared. I think that's a Boy Scouts thing, but always be prepared. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more videos just like this one.